Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Sunday, March the 2nd, 2025. And I've got to say, well, a little bit dusty today. Not hungover like that, don't worry, but just big day at the pub yesterday. We had our I won't say our grand opening. We just opened up. We've still got a fair bit to do, but we had the Liam Wilson and Yousef Dib fight on last night. And it was a big day. I'm just going to take this out of my ear there so I can hear properly. I don't sound like I'm in a tunnel. Yeah, no, it was a big day. We had a fair few people at the pub. Really good turnout by all the old regulars, which was good. But I didn't get home till about 12:30, probably in bed by about 1. And of course, Neil stops for no man. He was at my side at about 7 in the morning saying, "Dad, get up. It's Sunday, it's 7 o'clock. I need my walk." So here we are out walking at the moment. No, it was a big day. And what a big night of fights. It really was. It was just, I was really hopeful that when Ace Boxing hooked up with No Limit, that this is exactly the type of show that we'd get. Just stacked from top to bottom, just a really good competitive card. And when I say stacked, I don't necessarily mean like a Riyadh card, so don't think I'm comparing to that. But when I say stacked, I mean just a card stacked of TV-friendly, fan-friendly action fights. And this is what we're after. I suppose this is what we sort of wanted when Ace Boxing went on 7+. This is what we wanted when No Limit went on Foxtel. This is what, we wanted Tasman Fighters with the Zone. These are the fights that we wanted to get, and I'm really happy and more importantly impressed by the show they put on last night. It was a ripper. Just every fight was just fantastic. They all had their own twists and turns, their own storylines. It was just a great night of boxing. And look, a bit of a disclaimer, I'm going to go through the card, of course, in this episode, but I didn't sit down, obviously, and watch every fight closely. I watched most of the main event I saw, and a couple of the others, but there was a few glimpses or a few parts of the fights where I was needed or serving or just busy, whatever it might have been. So I didn't watch them 100% intently. So if I don't get the reviews 100% right, then forgive me. If I've got a round mixed up or whatever, or mixed up with another fight, that's why. But look, I was entranced. And the what was great too is the people in attendance at the pub who weren't necessarily boxing fans. They just come down to support the night or just drink, whatever it might have been. They were the same. They absolutely loved the fights. It was a great atmosphere. And it was, as I said, again, a fantastic night of fights. Well, let's go through the card. So it started off, we had wins. Shannon Davey was a stoppage winner over, this is the prelims. These weren't the ones on TV, but I'll quickly read them out. So Shannon Davey with a TKO over Sultana Manuel. Kira Rustin with a stoppage of Muhammad Naviz and Jazia Puatua, I hope I got that right, with a stoppage of Dylan Wright. Actually, there's another one there, Vegas Larfield. Yeah, strangely enough, or was he? Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it was just the 4 fights, wasn't it? 5 fights, sorry. Yeah, Vegas Larfield didn't make the cut, which was surprising. I would have thought they would have showcased Vegas Larfield a little bit more, but he had the unanimous decision win over Austin Namdi. So good to see Vegas back amongst it. It's going to be a really, really good little fighter. So into the main card. So Floyd Masson and actually, sorry, I'll take that back. Vegas Larfield beat Gu Ming Lee. I'm just looking at box reg there, and I've mixed it up. So that's how dusty I'm this morning. I thought that Vegas Larfield fought Floyd Masson's opponent. So there you go. All right. So, and I think he went by a different name, but we're calling him. No, it's definitely Austin Namdi. Okay. All right. We're back on track here. It's been again a long morning. Floyd Masson improved to 15-2. With a unanimous decision over Austin Namdi, who dropped to 11-5. So have we got the scorecards there? Yes, we do. So it was Masson 79-73, 80-72, 79-73, all for Floyd Masson. Now, I must admit, from what I saw, I thought it might have been a little bit closer than that. It was an action-packed fight. No doubt that Floyd Masson won, But geez, he's never in a dull fight, this guy. He's just one of those fighters that it's just action-packed. I don't think the guy knows how to have an easy fight, and if the opponent's overmatched, he will find a way to make it competitive and action-packed. But no, really good fight. I like to Nyam with his whole persona, the way he got in the ring. He had the hair and dude had the glasses and that on. Just a really good addition to the card. And look, he came to fight. I really enjoyed the fight. From what I saw, again, as I said, I was back and forth, in and out, but from what I saw, really good, tough action fight. And Floyd and Nyam will both be very sore boys this morning, but just a really good, tough, action-packed fight. Come this way, man. So that was a really good way to get us started on the card. Then we had Costello, Brianna Harrison. Now, Brianna Harrison got the points there. Now, let's just see if I can see the scorecards. It was 79, 73, 77, 75, 78, 74, all for Brianna Harrison. And that was a really good scrap between the girls. Now, it's interesting with the girls because sometimes, especially when they get on TV, they sort of throw caution to the wind and just go for it. It's a little bit of rock'em sock'em sort of stuff, and that's what last night was. But a really good performance. Costello is a really tough girl. She always comes to fight. So she dropped to 5-1, and Brianna Harrison improved to 3-1. I just want to see who Brianna Harrison's loss was to. It was to Jazzy Parr. So that was in 2023. So yeah, really good performance. Brianna Harrison, very happy with things after the fight. It was a really good scalp from her because Costello, even though she's got a 50% record, just always comes to fight, always turns up, and just loves to scrap. And you'll love those type of fighters. So yeah, good win from or by Brianna Harrison there. Then into the two main prelim fights. We had Jack Bowen with a unanimous decision over a surprisingly tough, I'm going to try and get his name right here, Abulkar Shagaliev. Now, I know that's not right, but I'll do my best. We'll call him AS. So Jack Bowen with I'll just get the scorecards there. So he improved to 11-1. And his opponent dropped to 9-2-1. So just get the scorecards here. Where are they? Come on. All right, here we go. So it was 80-72 right across the board. I should have been able to remember that. But look, even though Jack Bowen won every round, I was impressed by Shagaliev's toughness anyway. He hung in there. He had a go. And that's all you can hope for from some of these imported guys that come in. And too many times I've seen opponents come in and just be blown away, overmatched. And that's what I liked about last night. Very competitive opponents. They turned up to win, give the crowd a great night of fights, and obviously their opponent a great fight. And that will do Jack Bowen the world of good. I thought he moved well. Got a really good kit of punches, just Jack Bowen. He had that setback against Reynold Quinlan. I'm just trying to see how many fights he's had since then. So he's had 4 wins in a row since then. So he was stopped by Quinlan in 2022. So he's beaten Francis Waiti, Thodzak Sinam, whoever that is, John Sung. So not exactly household names, but at least he's had 4 good wins in a row now. And I think he can. I'm not going to say he's going to be the world level type of fighter, but I think he's talented enough to at least be on the brink and give himself an opportunity. So impressed with Jack. Still a way to go. He's only had 12 fights. But trained by Gareth Williams, managed by Mike Goltimore, I think he's going to be a good prospect going forward. Then into the co-main. And my man, John Manu, I did say yesterday that he would beat Jalen Tate. However, I must admit, I did not think for 1 second that he would absolutely demolish Jalen Tate. It was just I'm going to say destructive. That's Mike Tyson-esque, wasn't it? But just a dominant third round stoppage. I think it only lasted a minute into the third round. So just a really good performance from John Manu. And I really get the impression that he was really keen to make a statement. He's been around the mark for a while. I promoted John a couple of times, in probably 2017, 2018. So that's how long he's been sort of toiling out there on undercards, and he did go over to the States for a fight over there, and it didn't end well for him there. Maybe a step up too quickly for him, but just a really talented young guy. Southpaw, just a good kid of punches, can obviously punch as well. And I think I did mention the other day, I see him in the mould of someone like a Dana Coolwell, who's going to be looked at by overseas promoters to get on and fight some of their prospects. And I think he's got the potential to, again, probably a little bit like Jack Bowen, not maybe necessarily be right on that world level, but who knows? I think he's going to have an opportunity to do it. I think he's talented. And last night, I mean, against Jalen Tate, it was just all one-way traffic. And I just get the impression from the look on Jalen Tate when he was hit by John Manu, and the speed and everything that John Manu had, I don't think he really knew what he was in for. Now, I know they watch tapes and they hear things, and they might even go and watch them in person, whatever, but I've just got a feeling he wasn't expecting what he got. Jalen Tate's been very, very hyped. He did have that loss to Ibrahim Bella, but this was supposed to be the fight for him to come back and make a statement. And I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, that they picked John Manu, or maybe they didn't pick it, obviously the promoters did, but they picked John Manu as sort of that bounce back type of opponent, because when the fight was announced, I thought, wow, that's a dangerous fight for a young kid who's looking to come back after that loss to Ibrahim Bella. He had that controversial fight earlier last year as well, when he was pretty lucky. Did he get a draw or the win? Whatever it was close, but it was razor thin. And I think there are a few doubts about whether maybe he wasn't there just yet. I mean, you've got to remember, he's only a young guy. And that's why I was surprised they picked a really good, solid young fighter in. He's not so young anymore, John Manu, but it's sort of blown up a little bit, hasn't it? Jalen Tate's an ace boxing fighter, so they would have seen this as the ideal fight for him. But he's a good young kid again, I'll say, is John Manu, and got the job done. And it wasn't just the fact that he beat Jalen Tate, but he really did a number on him, and I liked the way he finished. He finished the job, Jalen Tate. When he had him hurt, he put him down and then kept him down. That second follow-up flurry, the first sort of flurry that put him down, you could sort of see that maybe he just caught Jalen Tate unawares. First 2 rounds were pretty even, by the way. I thought both guys looked really good. But then when he put him down and had him hurt, he finished the job really, really quickly. A little bit ahead of himself to maybe call out George Kambosos. But hey, at his stage, you've got to put it out there, and after a dominant knockout like that, well, take the opportunity. So I didn't have an issue with that. A lot of people were saying, well, what's he doing calling out George? But hey, you got to do what you got to do. And I'm a fan of John Manu, and look, maybe could we see Liam Wilson and John Manu? I probably doubt it, because Liam's, I think, is focused purely and solely on getting another world title shot, but that's a dangerous fight for him, isn't it? Maybe John Manu, Ibrahim Bella would be a great fight as well, because Ibrahim's the one that, as I said, beat Jalen Tate as well, and beat Yousef Dib as well last year. So that could be a really good fight on one of these cards, potentially, is Ibrahim Bella and John Manu. 2 Victorians. I'd love to see it. Then into the main event. What a fight it was. We had all the explosive lead up to it, all the trash talk and the threats and all this sort of stuff. It was a really great fight. It almost ended early. I was looking at the clock. I think the main event started at about 10 o'clock, and I was thinking, geez, we might be out of here by about 20 past 10. It might be an early night. But Liam Wilson with those 2 early knockdowns, I thought after the second one, the body shot, I think it was, I thought that was the uppercut, whatever it was lights out for Yousef Dib. I thought that was it. I thought he was not going to be able to beat the count. And even if he did, I thought that Liam Wilson would finish the job, but couldn't get it done. And Yousef Dib, he hung in there, and I've got a newfound respect for him, I can tell you, because he dug deep. He could have probably easily turned it up at that stage with those shots he was taking from Liam Wilson. Liam Wilson, I also thought, punched himself out a little bit in those rounds trying to finish Yousef Dib, and it allowed Dib to get back into the fight. And after that second round, it became a really fascinating fight, because Liam took probably 2 or 3 rounds to really gather himself and maybe take a couple of rounds to get his win back, because he did punch, or he did throw a lot of punches to try and get Yousef Dib out of there. And I just thought in those middle rounds that Yousef Dib started to get back into the fight, started to get back on the jab, started to win some rounds. I know at the end it was pretty one-sided with the scoreline, but I thought the Yousef really started to get to Liam, and he bloodied the nose, and then later cut the nose as well with I think it was a left hook. I think that might have got him. But I just thought as the fight went on that it was Yousef who was actually landing the better punches. But I think Liam had just done enough in those early rounds. He looked okay, Liam. He had a good jab. But I must admit, I was a little bit concerned about the amount of punches he took in return from Yousef, especially late in the fight. And was it round sort of 8, 9, 10, just all action. We had the low blow as well, and I was probably like you out there, just gobsmacked when I saw Yousef hit the deck from that low blow, and Liam Wilson sort of gyrate over the top of him. I'm thinking, geez, what is going on here? And you look at ringside too, Billy Dibb, Yousef's brother, tried to almost get past the cornerman and jump into the ring, and I don't know what he was going to plan to do, but had to be held back. If you look closely at ringside, you'll see him. But I was a little concerned, if I'm being honest, that Yousef might stay down and maybe try and get the disqualification. But smartly, he took the 5 minutes. I think the point was deducted from Liam as well, and he got up and finished the fight and finished it well. And I must admit, I wasn't quite sure which or how close the scores would be, because even though I thought Liam had won the fight, no problems with that, I had a feeling that in those, especially those middle sort of rounds, those 5, 6, 7 sort of rounds, that I thought Yousef got the better of Liam Wilson. I thought he might have picked up some rounds, but I think, actually, I've got these scorecards here. Let's have a quick look. It was one-sided though. What was it? It was 90. So Phil Austin had it 96-91. Adam Hyatt had it 95-92. Philip Holiday had it 96-91. I would probably agree with Adam Hyatt. 95-92 is probably the scorecard that I would have. But I tell you what, Yousef lost absolutely no friends in his performance last night. He was game, he was tough, showed a lot of heart, and Liam Wilson normally in those situations gets his opponents out of there. And as I said, Yousef he bit down on the mouth guard and gutted it out, and I think he's won a lot of fans by his performance. As for Liam Wilson, I'm not sure again what to make of it. It's a little bit like the last fight. It went very, or the same way without the stoppage. And I did say in my prediction, I didn't think he would stop Yousef. I thought he'd win by unanimous decision, and he did that. But I thought that, again, he struggled with the counters from Yousef. I don't see a lot of head movement at all from Liam Wilson, and he does tend to still get caught in the trenches when he's tired or frustrated or whatever it might be. And look, I think it's hard, because we remember when his last fight, or last year with Valdez, when he did okay early and then got into the trenches and got himself knocked out. And I remember talking to Glenn Jennings about it, and they were working on it. I'm just not sure whether we're there yet with Liam. And with all due respect to Yousef, he's not a world caliber fighter. And that's the issue I've got with Liam going forward, is he going to be able to temper those emotions during the fight in a big fight again, because it's cost him in a couple of fights so far, or especially the Valdez fight. Look, he's better, but again, we've got to see him in with that world-class fighter. And the things like the gyrating over Yousef, I know there was emotions involved in the fight and everything else, but there's a little bit of showboating going on, a little bit of taunting. Yeah, I think we've got to try and get that out of his repertoire, Liam Wilson, because if he's going to compete at the world level again, then he's going to need to be focused and on the job, and not worrying about all that sort of stuff. But again, I know there was all the personal sort of stuff between them as well. But yeah, as I said, I'll be lying if I didn't say I was concerned still about the defense of Liam Wilson. He does take way too many punches. And as someone, especially with someone like a light puncher like Yousef, not that he was hurt by Dibb, but I was sort of worrying watching it, thinking, geez, if this was someone that could punch, Liam might be in a bit of trouble here, because he just takes way too many punches. And you've seen his face at the end of it, really marked up, some cuts, bruises, all that sort of stuff. So I would like to see a little bit more head movement. I'd like to see him maybe box a little bit more from the outside. He gets caught in the trenches way too much, and that's where he cops the punishment. So look, Whether he can change that style, whether he's good enough to change the style. I mean, it's one thing to say he needs to do this and needs to do that, but he's still got to have the talent to put it into practice. But I think Liam is a super talented kid. I really do. Well, not a kid, he's a man. Super talented fighter. And, you know, he's got really good speed. He can punch. You know, and on the outside can box really, really well. But I just think, again, he just gets caught up too much in what's happening in the fight and doesn't stick to his plan. But anyway, we will see down the track, because it looks like he might have that opportunity against O'Sharky Foster later in the year, which would be fantastic. So there's plenty of time to work on everything he needs to work on. Just one quick thing before I finish up. He did talk about George Kambosos in the lead up to the fight. Looks like George is going to land that Richardson-Hitchens fight, with Teofimo Lopez fighting Arnold Barboza Jr. and now has opened the door to that fight. So expect that if George gets past Jordan, then you'll see the Richardson-Hitchens fight later in the year. And then you would think the winner, if George can get past Hitchens, which won't be easy, that you would think that Liam Paro will be the next one on the podium to have a crack at that belt. So it looks like it was looking a little bit barren for Aussies in world title fights this year, but all of a sudden we've got Liam Wilson and George Kambosos on the brink of world title fights. So maybe it's not as bleak as what it was looking at the start of the year. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the chat about what you thought about the fights. Again, I'll say a fantastic night of fights. This is what we can expect between No Limit and Ace Boxing. I say bring it on. And I love the Saturday night fights as well, and even better, I love the fact that they're over by 11 o'clock. That's the model we should be following. No later than 11 o'clock, we're turning the TVs off. So guys, have a great Sunday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.